As we've mentioned before, anybody who's many foresters looking for continuing education credits must put your either CF number or your SAF number into the chat box along with your name. Any ISA members looking to get continuing education credits there too, please put your name in and request for those CEUs in the chat box. Appreciate that. So we'll get into our OFA awards here. So we annually give out 5 conservation awards to deserving folks, and we're going to do that again this year. Obviously, it's a little different. We can't hand them a plaque in person today, but we are still going to make those announcements and show you the plaque. As few folks can see one here on the front on the desktop here without a name attached. Oh, excuse me, something went wrong there real quick. But anyhow, hope you didn't see that. And what we will do though is we're going to talk to the folks here that are getting these awards today, and we are planning to hold our OFA summer outing this mid to late July, and we're hoping that these people would be able to attend our reception at that outing, and we can give these plaques to them in person. If they can't do that, we'll make sure to hand them to them one way or the other here in the coming months. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to our esteemed award presenter for the umpteenth year, our OFA treasurer, Dave Bergman.
Oh, thanks, Brad. It's always a pleasure and an honor to recognize those individuals and organizations that have contributed to not only the programs of OFA, but also to the forest industry and forest management areas throughout the state. And this year is no exception. We've got 5 very worthy awardees, and we're going to start off with the Outstanding Logger Activist. This year's Outstanding Logger Activist became interested in the logging industry at a very young age. He would go to work with his father in the woods every chance that he had. It was here that he began learning about ethical logging practices, something that he would live and share later in his career. He would attend loggers chapter meetings with his father and grandfather and attend the chapter's forestry field days. As he got older, he began working in the woods part-time during his summer breaks from school, learning to operate skidders, dozers, and log loaders. After some chainsaw safety training, he even began felling trees. In high school, he took an interest in coaching and teaching, and after graduating from Shawnee State University with a BS in middle childhood education, he began a 10-year teaching career and had the opportunity to coach both varsity and junior high football teams. He also earned a master's degree in education administration with the goal to eventually become a school principal. But the pull of the woods was too strong. After 10 years of teaching school, our awardee went back to the woods in 2004 to work with his father and has not come out of the woods yet. Well, except to continue his teaching of others about the logging industry. He volunteers at field days every year to help with logging demonstrations and educates children on the importance of the timber industry. He is chairman of the Southern Ohio Loggers Chapter, is an active member of the Ohio Logging Standards Council, and is a member of the board of directors of the Ohio Forestry Association. He is a firm believer in working proactively with landowners, foresters, and township trustees while on logging sites. He is always trying to learn the best way to preserve the integrity of the land. At this time, we would like to recognize as the 2021 Conservation Award for Outstanding Logger Activist, Jared Lute. Jared, are you available to say anything?
Jared, I think Gayla's finding you out there. I know you're on board, so if you unmute yourself, you'll be able to say a few words if you'd like.
You have to let me get unchoked up first. What a surprise this is, I guess. I'd like to thank everybody that was involved for nominating me. I sure appreciate it, and hope to continue to make all of you proud and make this plaque worth its weight in gold. For all of you that know me, I think it was Isaac Newton maybe that said it's easy to see a little farther when you're standing on the shoulders of giants. And I've been surrounded by people my whole life in the logging industry that's made that easy. Made it easy to see a little farther. So thanks to all of them, my dad, my grandpa, Arnold Matthews, and R.L. Lute, my mom, everybody that's made me who I am today. So thank you very much for considering me for this award, and I'll accept it on behalf of all of them as well that made me who I am today.
Well, thanks, Jared. Well deserved, and glad to be able to do it.
I better throw my beautiful wife in there too.
You better.
I better, for putting up with me being gone all those hours and days and nights that I'm gone all the time. So my wife and my kids too.
Great. Thanks, Jared.
All right. Thank you, guys. I greatly appreciate it.
Our next award is the Outstanding Individual in Industry. The 2021 Outstanding Individual in Industry received his BS in Forestry from Michigan State University. He has been a longtime member and supporter of both Ohio SAF and National SAF. As a strong advocate for state forestry issues such as timber trespass legislation, he has served on the SAF Policy Committee for several years. He has also been very involved with the American Tree Farm System in Ohio and serves on the editorial board of the Ohio Woodland Journal publication. He has been a longtime member of the Southeast Ohio Loggers Chapter and has always been a strong advocate for logging contractors. Our recipient has actively led the Uni-Oto School District's conservation camp for over 30 years, to the point that it may not have continued without his strong support. He was also an instructor at OFA's forestry camp for many years. He obtained and continues to maintain his registered forester designation in the state of North Carolina. Our recipient is known by landowners, loggers, and peers for his strong forestry technical aptitude, due diligence, precision, and accuracy, which is why he has purchased more timber and written more management plans than anyone in his organization and mentored countless new foresters over the years. But his success can also be attributed to his attitude. He maintains an honest, fair, and positive outlook, no matter what the situation. Due to his strong due diligence and attention to detail, he has chosen to draft the timber procurement policy and procedure for his company's Ohio paper mill operations. He is such a strong negotiator that he's been known to go to Reichert Ford on the weekends just to negotiate car prices. Well, he does that for fun with no intention of buying a car. At this time, we would like to recognize as the recipient of the Outstanding Individual in Industry Conservation Award, Mike Bessinen. You there, Mike?
Can you hear me?
Yep, there we go, Mike.
Yep.
Okay. This is a pleasant surprise, just like Jared was surprised. I'm even more surprised. Thank you so much. This is wonderful to get this award from OFA. I'm really pleased and proud to accept it. About that Reichert Ford thing, that was a one-time thing, and I was actually looking for a car.
You were dealing?
That's not the way we heard it.
But it does give you good practice if everybody wants to negotiate. They are really good at it. But yeah, thanks to all the guys I work with. I'm honored to have been working for paper mill here in Chillicothe for the last 33 years and 5 different ownerships, and proud to say they're still operating. And we hope to continue to operate and run strong and be a part of the forest industry and OFA. So yeah, thanks to everybody. Thanks for my wife to putting up with me and kids.
Well, Mike, thank you for everything you do for the industry and for OFA.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Our next award is for the outstanding individual in private service. I think. Ah, there we go. This year's recipient of the Conservation Award for Outstanding Individual in Private Service is an SAF certified forester, an ACF member, an NRCS technical service provider, and has worked many hours on tree farm committee work. This forester has been instrumental in the efforts to educate and work with municipalities in Cuyahoga County to make commercial forestry a viable option for the landowners of that county. Our recipient has spent a considerable amount of time assisting in the education of multiple entities about the use of a commercial timber sale as a tool to meet the goals of the landowners. His time and patience with the various disciplines involved in this has been commendable. Our recipient has conducted commercial sales on 3 sensitive sites, including the Holden Arboretum and Gardens facility, Cleveland Metro Parks, and within the village of Gates Mills. All 3 ventures were well received by members and the public. This time, we would like to recognize as the recipient of the Conservation Award for Outstanding Individual in Private Service, Adam Beekler.
Adam, I think Gayla was looking for you. If you can unmute yourself, like to hear a few words if you have any.
All right, there. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Wow, I'm sort of speechless, honestly. I really was not expecting this. This was completely out of left field. Well done, Brad. You hit it well.
Well, you'll see the method to my madness later.
Gee. I guess all I can say is thanks to everybody else involved. It wasn't, this was far from a single-handed effort. The Division of Forestry, the Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District. There was a lot of people involved with some of these jobs that you just mentioned, and without them involved in the process, they surely couldn't have been as successful as they ended up being. So I guess, thanks to everybody involved. Thanks to my employer, the Wilderness Center. Thanks to my wife and children. And boy, out of left field, that's all I've got to say. I appreciate it tremendously. Thank you very much.
Well, Adam, thank you. And what you and as you mentioned, some of the partners you're working with up there in Northeast Ohio are doing some great things in some sensitive areas. So really appreciate the work there, and well-deserved award.
And I apologize to anybody that I forgot to thank. I'm just sort of, my head's spinning right now. Thank you.
Congratulations, Adam. Our next award is for the Outstanding Individual in Government Service. This year's recipient had a career in the private sector long before he became a state employee, and thus he brings a little different perspective to the job. He is now a valued member of the Ohio Division of Forestry team. This individual has been a reliable master logger company program inspector for over 5 years and typically does more inspections than most of the other inspectors. He has a good relationship with the logging community and is respected as a fair forester. Along with the local Soil and Water Conservation District and the Southern Ohio Loggers Chapter, this year's recipient helped resurrect the 5th through the 8th grade forestry field days held at Shawnee State Forest. This event was regularly done in the 80s and 90s, but had a hiatus for around 20 years. Attendance to the field day learned basic forestry and conservation. He also ensured that the field day includes an industry partner who demonstrates responsible logging techniques and a sawmill demonstration. That portion makes the event different than many natural resource education experiences, but it would also not be possible without his leadership. This time, we would like to recognize the recipient of the Conservation Award for Outstanding Individual in Government Service, Dale Egbert. Are you available to say a few words, Dale?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm kind of like Adam. I kind of caught unawares. I wasn't expecting this, but and just like Adam, a lot of other people that help with all these things. I don't do these things by myself, and I appreciate everyone that chips in and makes these things happen as well.
Thanks, Dale. Appreciate, again, all the work that you do there. And, what we're hearing, a common theme from you and the others is that none of us do any of this stuff because we want to win an award, but because we do the things that we do, people recognize that. And so we wanted to recognize that with you here this year.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations, Dale.
Thank you, Dave.
Our last conservation award, but definitely not the least, is the Walter Lang Conservation Education Award. And this is the first recipient of this award, named after the late Walter Lang. This year's recipient is an entity in Northeastern Ohio, which has taken on a leadership role as educators in forestry in the region, working with a variety of partners to provide facilities, research, and workshops. This organization is expanding the knowledge base of landowners on many aspects of forestry. Through their Working Woods project, this organization has conducted forest thinning, invasive species control, and a commercial harvest to illustrate the benefits of sound forest management. Encompassed within the Working Woods project, lots of research is being done to document the response of trees after thinning and removing invasive plants. Another focus of their project is on non-traditional forest products, such as using remaining tree tops from the harvested timber for mushroom propagation and planting the understory after the harvest with ginseng and black cohosh for additional income between timber harvests. Their current plan is to greatly expand active forest management in other areas of the property and highlight their results from research on the various plots within the Working Woods project, and to utilize the site to conduct trainings and workshops for resource professionals and landowners alike. Additional forest and wildlife management practices have begun to take place on other areas of the property by them working with the local NRCS and Division of Forestry personnel to use EQIP funds for non-native invasive plant control and wildlife habitat construction. These areas will also be used as sites for landowners to visit and see projects that may be suitable for implementation on their own property. They're also looking to offer aid in helping small landowners in the region with properties of less than 10 acres, a size that limits the available assistance from many other organizations. This entity is also working on developing a management handbook specifically for use by small landowners. In addition to implementing a variety of forest and wildlife management projects, this organization is working with the Forest Health Collaborative, doing extensive research on beech leaf disease, hemlock woody altitude, beech bark disease, emerald ash borer, and mycorrhizal fungi reactions to changing conditions. At this time, we would like to recognize as the first recipient of the Walt Lang Conservation Education Award, Holden Forests and Gardens.
And I know Jessica Miller was registered to be on. I'm hoping Gayla found her. If so, Jessica, if you could unmute and say a few words, we appreciate that.
She's not on.
She's not on, okay. Wish she had been on today. Again, what Holden Forest and Gardens is doing up in Northeast Ohio is tremendous. I've been up there since they've started this stuff with the Working Woods Project. And we've witnessed the harvest that they've done up there and the work that they're putting forward to help all the landowners up in that part of the state and others. So very, very deserving award. And we'll get with Jessica and the others up there here in the very near future and get this award to them. So again, round of applause, I guess, to all those that have gotten these awards today. And thank you for all the work that you've done for the industry and for our association. And Dave, thank you so much for announcing those awards today. And we've got one more to do, and I'm going to talk about our 2020 Ohio Logger of the Year.
Okay, thanks, Brad. I appreciate the opportunity to do this every year. It's always a pleasure. It's a great organization to be with, and we got really great people that work in this industry throughout the state of Ohio.
Yes.
Thanks again, and you got it.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. So our last award here we're going to hand out today is the 2020 Ohio Logger of the Year. So this year's outstanding logger started his company in 1981, became an Ohio Master Logger in 1998. He's been doing stellar work in the woods now for almost 4 decades. Some of his past employees have started their own logging companies and are very highly thought of. This is directly due to the very good on-the-job training that was received from this year's award recipient. His sons all work for him now and have been trained by him for many years. The care and dedication they show is a testament to the passing along of the importance of good logging practices to the next generation. They are poised to take over the business in the coming years and will continue to build on our awardees' legacy through exceptional logging operations. This company recently completed a very high-profile logging job in which the Cleveland Metro Parks removed timber in a commercial harvest. This was a sensitive job for obvious reasons. Division of Forestry, the Cuyahoga Soil Water Conservation District, and a local forestry consultant were all involved in a harvest layout and oversight. The job was completed without a single issue from any entity or the public. Hard to do on a metro park. When talking about this company, a highly thought of forester in Northeast Ohio said, "This logger has always gone above and beyond to exceed contract requirements and make sure he does an excellent job. He is always on top of his road bonds and local ordinances." This logger has worked with many foresters over the years, many of which were contacted by the nominating forester for this award, and he did not hear a single ill word towards the company. He receives shining endorsements for everyone he encounters, especially on the forestry side of the industry. This forester also commented that he recently worked with our awardee on some sensitive sites, including that Cleveland Metro Park site, and he could just not say enough about how fantastic he was to work with and the job that he and his boys did in the field. This logger is also heavily involved in his local logging chapter and takes every opportunity to push good logging practices. He understands fully the way that field work portrays the logging industry as a whole. He practices what he preaches. Today's Logger of the Year is a repeat awardee, having also received this recognition 20 years ago in 2001. For his continuing outstanding work in the logging profession and for passing that "let's do it the right way" attitude on to his sons, I'm pleased to announce that the 2020 Ohio Logger of the Year is Henry Coons of HK Logging and Lumber. And Henry, I think Gayla was trying to find you on there, and if you can unmute your phone, love to hear a word from you.
I found him. He just needs to unmute.
Hello?
Hi, Henry.
Yes. Yeah, can you hear me, Brad?
Yeah, yes, we can. You're good to go.
Good. Brad, this is overwhelming. Wasn't expecting this. So, yeah, really do appreciate it. And yes, you said it right. We did work in a lot of sensitive areas in northeast of Ohio, and it seems like everywhere we go anymore is quite sensitive. It's a little overwhelming at times, but this is something I was not expecting, very unexpected. So I do give this credit also to my sons and my crew. So I'm only the part of it. So I will relay this to my sons, and thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Henry. As I said, I've seen some of the jobs you've done up there on some of these sensitive sites, and if it weren't for the good work that you and your sons do up there, these jobs wouldn't have gone off without public comment and public complaint, because that would be the norm in some of the areas that you've worked. So great job. Glad to have you representing our industry.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and we'll make sure to get this beautiful plaque to you. And by the way, let me comment that this plaque was hand built by Yoder Lumber Company, and they also helped take care of getting the other plaques built and engraved for us too. So we really appreciate the support of Yoder Lumber Company when it comes to our Logger Awards and Conservation Awards. So again, thanks, Henry. Well deserved.
I sure do appreciate it, and keeps us on top of everything, and we're going to try harder again.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All
We'll
right.
talk to you later.
You're welcome. Bye.
Okay, folks. Well, that wraps up our awards presentations for today. I appreciate that we were able to surprise a few people. I always like it when it happens that way. We're going to be back on here in just another minute with our next session, which will be a hardwood market report update. So we'll be back with you in just a minute.